Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review Halloween Resurrection. Evil finds its way home.
Directed by Rick Rosenthal, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Busta Rhymes, Bianca Kajlich, Tyra Banks, Ryan Merriman, and Brad Loree. This movie's about the return of Michael Myers. But it's not the return, it's the resurrection of Michael Myers. This is 3 years after Laurie Strode thinks she has completely killed Michael Myers by cutting off his head, only to find out it wasn't Michael Myers all along. Michael Myers is back to exact revenge. But there also happens to be a fun reality TV show being filmed by Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks.
Let the dangertainment begin out there.
So a bunch of college students are thrown into the Myers house and they need to figure out why Michael killed his sister. And scattered about are various clues. Also, a very real Michael Myers out to kill them. While this isn't a retrospective, we will be talking about spoilers for this, so here we go. What do we like?
I like that Michael killed people in different ways, especially like reality TV style, like that tripod kill.
You have to think, in 2002, this is before the major reality TV boom. Of course, there were shows like Survivor, they mentioned the Osbournes in it, probably Big Brother as well. But at the same time, there wasn't a lot of found footage movies either. And using like found footage style with like a regular style, like mixing the two, I think it was actually pretty successful in that. And I know that a lot of people hate it. It doesn't necessarily work all the time, but when it came out, this was kind of groundbreaking, to be honest, because either you had completely found footage movies like a few years prior, Blair Witch, which was most notably like probably one of the first. I mean, sure, ages ago there were other films like that, but that was the one to put horror on the map for found footage. And with reality TV just starting to boom, groundbreaking doesn't mean it's necessarily good. It is just like something that was fresh for a horror audience. Like we hadn't seen that, at least at a mainstream level at the time.
And it also just gave a unique take on the story for this generation, especially when it's like a live interactive movie, when you have the situation with Deckard going into the chat rooms and like guiding Sarah through the house, because you have that reality TV element, then you have the like chat room element, and it's the thing that when you watch a horror movie, you're like, oh, the killer's in this room, like go outside, go here. So you just have the audience of people like telling her where to go. So it's a fun aspect of the film.
And it's like almost meta at that point, because they are saying the things that we would say. He's in the house! Although I think that was vague instructions, Deckard. Say, he's literally right behind you with a butcher knife. That would have been better, I think. I did like our cast of characters, even though they were so paper thin. Sarah was cool enough, but the rest of them, they were just like weird characters.
Yeah, we should poke around a bit.
All the guys are horn dogs, and they're constantly touching the girls.
Careful, Jen.
Hands off, bud.
Not Rudy.
Rudy's a foodie. And you have the girls that are constantly rejecting the like horny guys. Except for the one who's like way too smart. If anyone ever tried to correct me on continuously or continually, much like the YouTube comments like to try and do, you fucking actuallys, you get shadow banned.
Continuous means continuing uninterrupted, while continual means recurring periodically.
If she was in my comments, I would never see a comment from her after the first one.
I actually enjoyed Busta Rhymes' character. It's the early 2000s and rappers were really making themselves dominant in movies. So it was kind of cool seeing like Busta Rhymes in a horror film, and he did a good job.
That's what I'm looking for.
His character was the final boy.
How you gonna follow up LL Cool J? It's either gonna be Exhibit or Busta Rhymes, but Exhibit was too busy pimping rides. But I think Busta Rhymes fit the character really well. I know there's gonna be haters on this. It was fun. It was a lighthearted aspect to the film. Like at the time, I had no gripes with this movie whatsoever. I was just like, dope, another Halloween movie. And that was its intended purpose. Now, as fucking pompous critics, like the whole internet is like, I've been dissecting Halloween for years. I've seen what was before, I've seen what was after. I know all the trivia now. After this movie was made, now I have an opinion. I know it's ironic that I'm saying that, being that we are critics that also critique older films. But I went and saw this and I remember enjoying it, and well, I'm sure I'm gonna be more critical today. I can appreciate what they were going for.
I am gonna give them credit on the pacing of the film. It's not that it flew by, but something was always happening that had me engaged.
Yeah, whether that's like the people in the house doing something, whether it's the way that it's cutting between the people, Busta Rhymes like control room, or the ultimate party boys room, which would be so awkward. Imagine walking into a room and you're like, hey, I'm trying to bang this chick. Oh, what you got here? And the girl that you're trying to bang is like, I'd rather watch this reality TV show instead.
You wanna watch? No way.
Sure.
I forgot to mention that Jen, fucking Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica. How cool is that? She's like the best part of that show. And then one of my favorite like sitcoms stars Bianca Kajlich, who is Sarah in this movie, the lead, which I didn't even like put 2 and 2 together because she looks so much younger here. Like I didn't even see it. And I'm like, wait a second. This is Rules of Engagement. If you guys haven't seen that show, I highly recommend it. It is so funny.
Oh my god, you've been pussy whipped.
Let's talk about Michael. I think Michael's mask in this is better than some of the other Michael masks. But in this one, his mask was like more defined, it felt.
But we had that one moment where he was like chasing like Loree down the hallway and his hair was super wild, and then the next shot it was like slicked back. But he's a strong, beefy boy. I love his like go-to move now, which is like the one arm like pull down from like the rafters.
If you were to do that, you would have to be like hiding on top of the bar. So is he like planking on top of the bar and then like waiting? Okay, have they opened the washer or dryer yet? Okay.
Can you just imagine him just like holding it, like actually planking, like being flat?
There's been crazier things in the Halloween franchise. I have no complaints about Michael Myers himself, to be honest. Like, I think it was a cool look.
Who do you think pulled it off better, him or Busta?
I did like that Busta's mouth moved a little bit though.
Yeah.
At least they were lit different. And this is where you can kind of see the difference. It's like, even though they were probably wearing like the same replica of mask, it comes down to the lighting. And I think that the way that this mask was made added for like the deep cheekbones for the light to like really pop. In other renditions of Michael, of course the OG has this, but there are other ones that like the face feels a little bit more flat. I'm for like the deep shadows. But I'd also like to see all future Michaels have flapping gums. If Halloween Kills doesn't have Kung Fu, I'm pissed.
If we've seen anyone face off against Michael Myers, this is probably one of the greatest fight scenes. Because it was an actual fight scene.
You've just created a legion of Laurie Strode fanboys like,
Are you fucking kidding me?
I don't see Loree doing like praying mantis karate kid kicks. This is Busta's studying from Johnny Lawrence. Cobra Kai. Yeah, Loree wins traps easily. So like there's the 2 types of ninjas. There's like the ones who like are good at combat and the ones who are good at traps.
It's like Ghost of Tsushima. You got the sneaky stealth version, or you got the just let's go take down these warlords kind of version. I like both.
Now, who do you think would win in a fight? Busta Rhymes or RZA in a kung fu match?
I wouldn't hate seeing that. Speaking of which, can we get a fucking new Def Jam game, please? Def Jam has been teasing this for years. Like within the last couple of months, they posted like, oh, who would you like to see in the new Def Jam game? Don't act like you have a new Def Jam game, you bitch. Fight for New York is still probably one of the best fighting games ever created. Fuck the haters. Now, what didn't we like?
I was actually not a fan of our college kids, mainly because they were carbon copies of each other. Give us some diversity. When you have the girl and the horn dog downstairs, and then you got the girl and the horn dog upstairs.
Why are you touching me? Don't.
And you're watching the scenes back to back. It's like, guy tries a cheesy pickup line to like bang a girl, she rejects him. Let's cut to the next scene. Different guy tries a cheesy pickup line to bang the girl and she rejects him.
One flash and you could light up 1,000 computer screens.
I felt like we needed more variety out of our characters. Yes, they were like fun stereotypes, but they just paired off in being the same characters.
I would also argue that Rudy didn't add it a ton. He was one of my favorites, but like the fact that he likes food in this abandoned house gives him nothing to play with.
That's strange.
What?
It smells fresh.
It's like, okay, he can discover, oh, what a great knife. There's no food here, so like, why make it a food-based character?
I think the big buildup was him being a knife master, so you could have like a knife-on-knife showdown.
I don't think it was the best choice for a character.
And then we have our like Deckard moment where they actually don't meet up. She's like, thanks, Deckard.
Thank you, Deckard.
You want Miles to be at the party and the party people to be like, go get her, man! And then he's gonna be in the crowd as she's getting interviewed, and then he's like, hey, and then that's how it ends.
Thank you, Deckard.
I didn't love how cheesy the kung fu action was. It was fun, but I don't think it suited a Halloween film.
Like some chicken fried, motherfucker.
We get it. Busta Rhymes was watching kung fu movies and you would expect him to do this. The first time is funny. The second time is like, oh, you're really trying to work this kung fu angle, are you? Okay then. You have Sarah, who's our main lead. She didn't really do a lot as like a final girl. This is very stereotypical of the time. Like, hey, a guy's gotta come and save you. And he legitimately picks her up, gives a one-liner as if you forget that Sarah is even the main character.
Happy fucking Halloween!
And then just like walks out as if he's the hero. It's actual bullshit.
The whole like feel of Halloween is thrown off as Loree dies. After he successfully kills Loree, why?
He's going back to his home.
He's going back home, but like it just, it had a weird feel to it.
Yeah, it didn't really make sense. I guess he's been living underground for a few years, eating rats. He doesn't want people in his home. That looked like a fresh rat dinner. Like he was legitimately just, maybe I'm just gonna have a little snack and just hang out for the day. And he's hear some stomping upstairs like, what the fuck do I gotta do tonight? This wasn't the plan, even though it is Halloween and I usually have plans on that day. I guess I'll just put my rat down and go deal with some shit. I am shocked that Halloween Resurrection was the one to like finish the franchise off, considering he's alive. Why didn't they just end it at age 20?
Oh my god, she killed the wrong person.
Well, I do think the concept is great. I think the execution wasn't great because a lot of that footage you couldn't really like see what's going on. There's a lot of quick cuts in between the jarring camera moves and the stationary camera moves, and it just makes it feel weird. Also, not one person seemed like they even cared when they found their friends. It's like they'd be like, oh, and that's it. If I saw a dead body, I'd probably pass out. I feel like a lot of people in horror movies in general don't act naturally, but these people didn't like give a shit at all. Sarah just soaked it in when she was going down the ladder. She's just like, oh, my guy.
It's kind of disappointed in the soundtrack. Now that I think about it, there was a lot of like dead noise. Like there wasn't any like intense moments happening. There's no like background music other than like Tyra Banks like busting a move as she's like,
oh yeah, that music was good stuff though.
But like, we didn't have anything really in the house. Like they didn't throw a good score at us.
And the reason is, jump scares are better when there's dead silence. And they chained jump scares together, especially closer to the beginning of the movie. It's like when we have American Pie guy jump out to do a jump scare. And then like 2 seconds later, they're opening this cubby to have a little chair come out. You need sharp fucking sounds to scare the audience. And that just continuously happened.
This easily has one of the worst Michael fake outs I've ever seen in my life. There's no connection to Sarah and Michael. She isn't like related to the Strodes. So why is she constantly having these like Michael Myers like visions in the mirror?
Maybe she's just nervous for being on TV. She's like, oh, I know what house we're staying in. And she seemed like the most convinced in her casting tapes.
Because of the world's worst photographer?
Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. Halloween Resurrection isn't a great film, though I don't think it's nearly as bad as everyone makes it out to be. It was a fun enough watch, but it definitely feels disconnected from the Halloween franchise. Although, if you go back and rewatch all of the other Halloween movies, after 2, they all feel pretty disconnected, except for age 20. While I enjoyed the actors and some of the people involved, I didn't like the characters. The characters are kind of throwaway. I liked Busta Rhymes, but I also didn't like Busta Rhymes. And I do think that the mix of reality TV can be done well, and I think it was important at the time, but I don't think this really nailed it because the cutting and the editing disrupted the flow of everything. And as a whole, this movie is just kind of whatever. Like, I don't think anyone is going to be like, that's my favorite, although there's definitely a lot of people that are like, that's the worst. I don't think it's the worst. So I'm gonna give this to who hang dries their panties in a dorm room right at their front door and then allows a guy to sniff them out of 5.
I like a lot of aspects of this film. I enjoyed the pacing because I wasn't bored. I enjoyed the kills because they looked great. But at the same time, I really did not like our characters. I didn't care for anybody. Though I loved Busta Rhymes. But like, this is not a good movie. But it's also still fun. If this didn't have like the Halloween title to it, like if this was just like random reality TV show with a slasher in it, I think it would have some great praise to it. But I think it's just people don't want this to be in the Halloween universe. And I get it, because it starts off terribly with the death of Loree, but I don't hate it. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this film 2.5 weird headset style sideburns out of 5.
We are going to enter a mystery wrapped up inside of a riddle, inside of an enigma.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, links are in the description. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay up to date with everything Bloodbath and beyond.